movie starts with Brynn, a seamstress who still lives in her childhood home. She discovers a circular spot on her lawn as she goes outside to mail some goods. She hears distant sounds as she sits by her mother's grave after posting the gifts. She leaves with trepidation, and everyone around her seems to disregard her. She sends a letter to her deceased friend Maud later that evening before going to bed. Her house is surrounded by odd noises in the middle of the night. The music begins to play, all the lights turn on, and then it just stops. She is startled awake by a loud thump as the wind increases up. When Brynn comes out of her room, there is no electricity. When she comes downstairs, she notices the front door of her house is wide open. She turns to look into the living room and is startled to discover something odd and non-human making spooky noises. Brynn is startled and starts to back away, but the thing notices her because of a squeaking floorboard. As it becomes apparent to Brynn that she is dealing with an extraterrestrial, she panics and bolts back into her room. Shaking in terror, Brynn ducks beneath the bed as soon as the alien opens her room's door. Brynn grabs the chance to get under the bed covertly as the alien bursts into the room and leaps upon the bed. She is hiding somewhere and hears the alien scream loudly as it abruptly jumps from the bed and comes toward the window. Then the thing leaps out of the window, scaring and relieving Brynn in equal measure. She scrambles to shut the window and secure her chamber again. Brynn notices the alien's presence on the roof when she steps outside to shut the door and keep it shut. She dashes inside and shuts the door, but just then the house's electrical system gives way, forcing her to turn off each broken device one at a time. But just as the house goes dark and she unplugs the lights, she hears a menacing noise emanating from upstairs, which makes her even more nervous and uneasy. Brynn hears a loud roar and what sounds like poltergeist activity inside her house intensifying as she tries to call for help. This leaves her in complete panic. When she sees the alien coming down the stairs, she runs for cover next to the refrigerator, frantically trying to evade the oncoming danger. With a quick and unsettling motion, the alien takes the phone and puts it back on the switch hook just as Brynn hears the dial tone and thinks about trying to contact for assistance again. After determining Brynn's location next to the refrigerator, the alien quickly traps her inside by opening the door. Brynn finally sees the alien face to face as it gets closer. In an attempt to break free, she presses against the refrigerator door. She does, however, trip over a door that the poltergeist activity sends flying, dropping her to the ground in a daze of terror. The determined alien follows Brynn through the tumultuous scene as she makes frantic attempts to flee. Unexpectedly, Brynn stabs the alien in the head while trying to escape after managing to snag a piece of something close as the alien gets closer. The unanticipated assault turns out to be lethal, as the extraterrestrial falls to its knees and eventually passes away from its wounds in front of Brynn, covering the deceased alien's body with a bedsheet as Brynn's attempt to deal with the problem. She tries to call 911 again but is frustrated that it doesn't work. She soon finds that her home is still without electricity and that her car's battery is dead when she gets in to go to the city. She rides her bike into the city, intending to get assistance from others, even though her car's battery is dead and she doesn't have any electricity. That being said, she stumbles upon an uncommon sight in the context of the situation: an overturned courier delivery vehicle. Then, she notices that her neighbor's house is seemingly in disrepair and draws her attention. She sets out to visit her neighbor, determined to see how he is doing. But then something catches her eye, and she is shocked to realize that the peculiar circular symbol she had earlier spotted on her own lawn is mirrored in exactly the same areas on the ground. Brynn runs into Maud's parents while rushing to the police station to ask for help. Before she can say anything, Maud's mother spits in her face and walks away, followed by Maud's father. Brynn leaves the police station with tears flowing down her face, feeling completely helpless and crushed by the loneliness and futility of her circumstances. These circular patches that had earlier formed on Brynn's lawn and her neighbor's yard are now visible in front of practically every house she passes as she boards a bus to depart the city. On the bus, Brynn notices a man behind her. When she gets up from her seat, he unexpectedly pulls her back, and she quickly learns that the man is in the shoves him away, tripping over herself in the process. The second female alien on the bus also makes an attempt to step in and grab Brynn as the threatening alien moves closer to her. The bus driver suddenly applies the brakes in the middle of this commotion, sending the male alien tumbling to the ground. He immediately regains his balance, though. In an attempt to flee the alien's pursuit, Brynn takes sanctuary in a nearby private home. She finds that the door is locked when she tries to open it, though. She subsequently discovers that the building has a cemetery next to it, and upon visiting, we see the burial of her closest friend Maud. Brynn sees that the weather is quickly getting worse and that thick black clouds are moving toward her as things become more dire for her. She makes an effort to leave the location, terrified and perplexed. When she gets back to her village, she is startled to see that everyone has their hands up, making it obvious that the aliens have taken over their bodies. Fearing for her life from the approaching danger posed by the aliens' allies, Brynn retreats quickly to her home. She becomes even more uneasy when she walks into her house because of the awful stench of the dead alien's corpse. She follows the sticky path outdoors as it continues to seep from the alien's mouth. She quickly learns, though, that other aliens are gaining ground on her. Brynn gathers the guts to face the aliens when she realizes how dangerous they are getting closer. In an effort to defend her home from the impending threat, she swiftly goes through her house, making sure that all of the windows and doors are securely shut and locked. As the aliens succeed in breaching the barrier at Brynn's main door, her expectations of safety are dashed. To her astonishment, though, they appear more intent on removing the deceased alien from her home. Her surroundings experience a brief but unsettling silence as they leave with the deceased extraterrestrial. But then, as the aliens search her house, Brynn becomes extremely anxious and, in a last-ditch effort to hide, she rushes to the basement. Her heart rushes as the persistent extraterrestrial invaders carry on searching her underground refuge. She grabs onto a pair of scissors she sees nearby in the hopes that they may provide some kind of shield. She hides behind a table and doesn't reveal herself, but when an extraterrestrial moves closer and notices her, her fear grows. Brynn lifts the scissors in defense, her hands shaking, but the alien uses its unexplained skills to easily take them from her hold. Then the alien gets up and grabs the picture of her and Maud from her hands. Brynn takes advantage of the momentary distraction caused by the picture and sneaks out of the cellar. But little does she know that a little extraterrestrial is approaching her from behind at a sluggish pace until it abruptly charges at her. Brynn fights for her life so desperately that she bites her hand to repel the small extraterrestrial and locks herself in the bathroom. But just as she's trying to get out the window, the alien bursts into the bathroom and grabs her leg. She kicks the alien and attempts to use a mop to keep it away, but the creature destroys the mop. After hurting it with the broken stick and forcing it into a closet, Brynn eventually knocks the alien unconscious with the door. Then she leaps out of the window, trying to get away when she hears an alien's. She hits the alien man from the bus as she tries to run away from the enormous extraterrestrial that appears from behind her neighbor's house. Her hair is grabbed by him, and he pulls her in the direction of an alien making odd-hand gestures. The alien sends signals to a spaceship above them, activating it. The alien man is kicked by her, though, and falls beneath the spaceship's light as she escapes with her own 10 seconds in advance. Abruptly, the lights go out, and the man falls back to the Earth as he begins to float toward the spacecraft. Subsequently, Brynn observes while the spacecraft disintegrates into numerous fragments and proceeds in diverse directions. Brynn desperately runs away from the pursuing alien, and in a stroke of luck, the alien gets entangled in some electric wires, allowing Brynn to make her escape for the time being. As Brynn tries to return to her house, something falls from above, and she realizes that the alien who had been chasing her has appeared on the roof. He lets out a piercing scream, which triggers responses from other nearby aliens. The alien advances toward her, but loses balance and falls, briefly losing consciousness. However, he quickly regains his composure, rising to his feet and in a frantic attempt to escape, the alien manages to strike her from behind. Brynn notices that the alien is trapped inside the car, which is leaking fuel. Seizing the opportunity, she sets the car on fire. As she tries to make her escape, the car explodes due to the fuel leak, inviting in the death of that alien. Brynn is just breathing a sigh of relief when the spaceship comes there to abduct her, but she narrowly escapes from the spaceship's abduction attempt and rushes back into her house, and quickly locks herself inside the storeroom. Soon after, we see an alien approaching the room, and when he enters there, he sees that the room is filled with Brynn's childhood toys, and there are many letters that Brynn has written for Maud. Now when the alien is investigating her room, Brynn is hiding behind some boxes and watching the alien. The alien's attention is momentarily drawn to the photos of Maud and Brynn when Brynn attempts to attack him from behind. However, the alien quickly reacts and throws her aside with force. In a moment of sheer terror, Brynn finds herself trapped in a red light, unable to move. The aliens immobilize her and stick her to the ceiling. As one of the aliens approaches, she is filled with dread. Then, something even more horrifying happens. The alien begins to regurgitate a parasite, which crawls out of its mouth. The parasite then enters Brynn's mouth, causing her to wake up screaming and fall from her bed, realizing it was all a terrible nightmare. Brynn is overjoyed to see Maud downstairs and apologizes to her. However, she quickly realizes that this is not real and takes drastic action by attempting to remove the parasite from her mouth. As she pulls it out, the parasite escapes her hand, and the place fills with deafening noises. Suddenly, an alien spaceship appears, casting a bright light on the parasite. Terrified, Brynn flees the scene, and multiple spaceships fill the sky, creating an unsettling atmosphere. We then see Brynn in the woods, where she encounters an alien that takes on her form and attacks her, stabbing her with a piece of wood. However, Brynn manages to defend herself by slitting the alien's throat with a paper cutter. As the alien falls, Brynn tries to comfort her as she dies, and the alien eventually passes away in her arms. Now as Brynn reaches the road, she hears an eerie sound, and she sees a massive alien approaching her from the front. She then becomes trapped in the light and is finally abducted by the alien spaceship. Inside the alien spaceship, Brynn encounters many curious aliens who approach her. They touch her forehead, and a revelation unfolds. In their childhood, Brynn and Maud had an argument, during which Brynn, in a fit of anger, attacked Maud with a stone, causing her death back in the spaceship. The aliens communicate with each other, and decide to send Brynn back to Earth. A few days later, Brynn has recovered and appears to be happy. Her neighbors, whose bodies have been taken over by aliens, are now living peacefully with her. The film's climax showcases Brynn dancing and rejoicing with the townsfolk. She's finally forgiven herself for what she did to her best friend, a process the aliens allowed her to go through. It seems that Brynn's encounter with the aliens has indeed changed the situation. While the aliens may have initially seen her as a threat, they seem to have developed empathy for her, recognizing their shared experience of being outsiders. As a result, they no longer view Brynn as a threat and allow her to go free. However, they proceed to invade her neighborhood and infect the remaining townspeople with the alien parasite, creating an apocalyptic world. To ensure you never miss any updates on new videos, kindly click the bell icon and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.